what we believe it is to be a man.
For me, being a man is being scared and excited for this life.
Being a man to me is being comfortable with who you are and living your life the way that you want to live your life, not the way that other people want you to.
It means being vulnerable and willing to express your feelings.
Being a man is being human. It means understanding and accepting that everyone else is human, despite of gender, sexuality, or any other way they choose to self-identify.
Being a man is being true to who you are, knowing that society doesn't define who you are, and there are about 3 to 4 billion ways to be a man.
As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another.
Being a man means having the strength to admit that you need help sometimes.
Being a man means finding something that works and doing it, because that's what you want.
Come on, guys. Now, we all know, being a man means being as swift as a coursing river, with all the force of great wind, with all the strength of a raging fire, mysterious as the dark side of the moon. No, I'm just kidding, but we learned a lot about being a man, and hopefully you'll learn a lot too.
Hi guys, friends, IWU, America. So I made a speech or a monologue today on a piece of paper. So don't feel alarmed if I revert to it. So what I'm about to talk to you, to everyone, is about what it means to be a man to me. So to me, to be a man, and more specifically to be masculine, is to know what it's like and what it is to be feminine. So to the guys in the audience, I'm not saying that we should suddenly eventually become women, like one day. More so that there's men and women are different, and there seems to me, it seems like almost like natural that we shouldn't just like live life as just a man or live life as just a woman. In fact, that like both sides have a lot of merit to them. So let me tell you an anecdote. So when I grew up with 2 sisters, and I grew up with my parents, my mom and my dad. So I ended up growing up and being more comfortable around girls. So when I was growing up in like elementary school, I would have all my friends and all the people that I could talk to were like females. I thought, like, I think I need guy friends. So, I started doing my like 3rd grade kid research, and what that involved was, you know, my go out to recess and be like, what did boys talk about? What did boys do? So I found out that boys like 2 things. They like video games, and they like sports. And it's even better if you're playing like sports video games. So that's like an extra plus. So I like watched NFL games, I watched NBA, I like played sports, all for the sake of just like, you know, getting to know guys that I could be friends with. And you know, it wasn't like I was forcing myself. I like truly enjoyed like getting into sports and getting into video games even. So that leads me to, let's fast forward to high school. So around this time, my parents make this sort of strange like comment to me, or like strange, like it's not really an accusation, but since I like to, you know, like to dance and to be flamboyant, or I guess be emotional sometimes, my mom was worried. She's like, not worried, but she's like, are you sure you're not gay? Like, I didn't see it as an accusation. I was actually like, oh, no, not. And I thought to myself, I didn't see it as some sort of insult or some sort of like my mom wasn't like too worried. She just made this comment, and I thought that like, well, you know, like I like to do these things I do. My dad like always wanted me to do sports. I like to play music. I like to sing. I like to dance, and it seemed like that the people that I was friends, especially the males that I was friends with in high school, it seemed that they were sort of like putting this wall in terms of like what it was to be a boy and what it was to be a girl. So, like for example, like if you're in the locker room, like after practice or something, it's like guys are just like, you know, like whipping towels and trying to like smack each other, and almost as if like everybody's trying so hard to be like as manly as possible. And like I thought to myself, like, like, I mean, I sure like doing these things that are like quote unquote manly, but like I sure like doing these, I sure like expressing these things that are quote unquote like girly, like stereotype. I guess it's, well, all these things are stereotypes that I'm talking about. So I just thought, you know, well, I think it's, like, I like doing just everything. Like, it doesn't matter if it's deemed as too manly or too, like, feminine. Like, I'm just gonna live my life. So I think one good example was, like, one day, I watched, like, the Chicago Bulls game with my dad. And we were talking about, like, I think, like, Kirk Heinrich was on the Bulls at that point. I don't know if anybody cares. So we're just like cheering and like watching the Bulls game, and then afterwards, I went to my mom's room and we watched this movie called The Lake House by with Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock. And like, oh, you're supposed to believe that Keanu Reeves can like apparently fall in love with Sandra Bullock, but anyways, I liked the movie and I liked watching the game with my dad. So I thought, like, you know, there was nothing weird about having both those experiences like on the same day. So I know I mentioned a lot of like stereotypes, like when it comes to being a man or being a woman. And I thought to myself, well, you know, like it's one thing like just accepting all these things that I like, but I think it's another thing in terms of like actually like making it a point to sort of learn what it is to be a woman. So I thought one good way to do that was, especially when I started becoming interested in like dating women. And I thought to myself, like, what more perfect of a way to, I mean, it's not even just dating, it could be just like being friends with a girl. And it's like, if you're friends with a woman or someone of the opposite sex, so this goes to men and women, like why not, like along with just hanging out and having like a great time, I think it's almost like, it should seem like a life goal to like want to learn what it's like to be the opposite sex. So like when you're growing up, you should want to ask, like, you know, like, if you're for a girl, like, what's it like to grow up to be a girl? Like, I know it should be different from growing up to being a boy. And, you know, I feel like there should be some sort of, like, you should think about that when your relationships, be it romantic or not. So, I'm just gonna wrap things up by saying that, let me get my paper here. I had a cool quote I think I wanted to say. So we cannot say as men that we have all the answers in life because hypothetically we only have half of them. But you know, I've all this talk about like learning what it is to be a man, or learning what it is to be a woman, but maybe, you know what, it's like deep down, like it's not so much that eventually in our lives we'll understand the opposite sex, but maybe through understanding a man or through understanding a woman, we understand more about what it is to be human. Thank you.
All right, we're gonna play a little improv game. We're gonna bring out to the stage Anthony and Pat. This game is called, this game is called Man Up. And every time I say the word ding, they have to man up their statement or their action. And so once again, when I say ding, they have to man up their statement or their action. So let's get a non-geographical location, not like Europe or Antarctica, but like someplace that would fit on this stage. I heard White House and Coffee House will say coffee shop in the White House. All right, ready, go.
Hey man, I'm about to go see the president, I think.
Oh, for real?
Yeah,
His wife is smoking hot.
Ding.
Man, have you seen the ass on that wife? That is something amazing.
I definitely have seen it in a couple pictures.
Man, if I got her in this coffee shop right now, it would be hot coffee, hot coffee, hot coffee all over that body. Oh my God, you know the things I would do.
Do you mind if I tag along and go up with you?
Ding.
Do you mind if I tag along and get a little feel on that ass?
Ding.
Mind if I tag along and tear that ass apart?
Hey man, hey, let me do my job first. You can come in wingman. You know how it goes?
Ding.
Hey, same time, bro?
Let's go.
So I'm here to talk to you for a minute about the man code. the top 10 man codes, so bear with me. Rule number 1. When using a public urinal, it is imperative that you do the following. Never, and I mean never, use a urinal next to another man. If it's unavailable, wait at least 10 seconds. If you have to go, then I guess it's okay. When using a urinal, again, never always focus, and never look to the right or to the left. And finally, when you're finished, don't shake more than 3 times. Any more than that, you're playing too much. All right, code number 2. Unless your friend is maimed or seriously injured, always give a half hug. Full hugs are reserved for children and significant others. Rule number 3, don't cry. I mean, and if you must cry, get a room. Number 4, when you go to a movie with a male friend, sit at least 1 seat apart. If the movie theater's full and you have to sit next to another man, make sure the armrest is down. Number 5, if asked, yes, your bro did sleep at your house last night. Number 6, always shit, shower, shit, shave, then shower. Number 7, when checking someone out, don't get caught. Number 8, if you watch porn with your friends, don't get a hard on. Number 9, always check your surroundings when adjusting your dick. And last, but certainly not least, always, and I mean always, be prepared to hide the surprise boner. Thank you. Those are my top 10 man codes.
When the head that shades, take it again.
What does it mean to be a friend? A friend is someone that you are close with, that you can go to in times of need, have fun with. There are levels of friends. Work friends, school friends, best friends, and for us guys, the ultimate friend, a bro.
There are varying levels of friendship, like Jamal stated. One thing they all have in common is that no matter what kind of friendship you have, you always have the other guy's back. The ultimate friend, a bro, is exactly that. They are now family, someone you would go to war for. At the end of the day, a friend is someone you can trust, someone who will be there for you throughout the hard times. When I've gone home throughout the year, I often tell people that I'm in a fraternity. Quite often I get the, "Oh, you're in a frat" response. Greek life, and fraternities especially, are somewhat looked down upon. That is rather annoying because people who dislike Greek life are those who aren't in it. While both of us are involved in Greek life, we both know what brotherhood is like in that sense. All frats may be different, but they all have strong bonds of brotherhood inside of them. At Teak, we believe that the essential elements of true brotherhood are love, charity, and esteem. I know that no matter what time of night it is, I can always walk to the Teak house and there will be someone there I can hang out with. After almost a year with the guys in Teak, I can say that I've started to grasp a better meaning of the definition of brotherhood. To me, brotherhood is what brings together over 50 guys in one house from all different kind of places in the world. How can you recognize brotherhood? Look for those guys that are so close, it kind of starts getting questionable. Those guys who go out to eat and see movies together, the ones who've been caught hanging out, laying together on the same bed shirtless watching Netflix, the ones that hit the town and decide, tonight we're matching, where's your cat shirt? The ones that stick up for each other, those are what friends are made of.
You know, the ones that stick up for each other so much that you start to get that, "What is he, your boyfriend?" response from some people. God, I hate those people. The ones that say I love you in ways that make everyone feel uncomfortable. You know, I just want you to know I care. Like, you know, if you were to die in a fiery car crash, I'd be pretty upset. If they aren't gay, which, by the way, there's nothing wrong with, then, and they aren't actually dating, which again, there's nothing wrong with, then that's what you call a bromance. Well, what we like to call a brotherhood. If you ask them, I guarantee they probably know everything about each other, if not most. And if you need a better example of brotherhood, you can look at our soldiers, firefighters, policemen. These men literally put their lives on the line for each other. That is the extreme brotherhood, if you get the idea. Brotherhood is more than just any friendship. If you're a bro, you can expect me to be there for you no matter what. If you're about to get jumped 10 on 1, well, skip it. I got 5, you got the other 5. Need an emergency ride at 2 a.m., I'll be there as fast as traffic laws permit, even if I'll break a few. I caught up with the girl? Nah. He was with me all weekend. We stayed in and watched every episode of Breaking Bad. Need to show some emotion? I'll bring a 6-pack, the Drake album, and some ice cream. You can cry if you need to, but we can't tell anybody about it. When doing favors, I have one motto. Well, it's more of a saying. What's better than eating? Feeding the family. As long as I have, and you need, we both have. That's what brotherhood is.
We've taken some time to break down the discourse, analysis of men's feelings over the 20th century, and over the next 2 minutes, we're going to translate the vernacular used to express how men really feel.
Hey man, see that chick over there? She totally wants me.
Translation, I think that girl's really pretty, but I'm too afraid to approach her because I'm scared she will reject me.
Hey, the girl who rejected me, I don't care anyway. She was ugly.
Translation, she was hot. Damn, I wish I could have gotten it there.
Hey, I only called my ex like 1 time last night.
Translation, called my ex like 30 times and left like 10 voicemails, and I really hope she calls me back pretty soon.
Hey, I don't judge dudes.
Translation, I'm gay.
Hey, let's hang out.
Translation, I'm lonely and I would love to hang out with you, but I'm too manly to say that.
Hey man, I don't sweat relationships. How about the guys out there? We don't sweat relationships, right?
Translation, I've not found the right person, but I'm still looking.
That girl I'm dating, she cool.
Translation, I love her, and I really hope she loves me too.
Hey, didn't hurt, man.
Translation, it really hurt, and I really want to cry.
Yeah, I swear on my mama, I done slept with like 25 to 35 people.
Translation, I've slept with 5 people, maybe 7, but probably 0.
Hey man, you know, that dude, he's pretty chill.
Translation, I think he's a really nice guy and I want to be his bro. All right, we're going to play the man-up game again. This is Tyler and Athaw. So same rules as before. When I ding, they have to man up their statement. Let's get a location that would fit on this stage again. That was really like auto there. That was like strip club. We'll do strip club. All right. Strip club, ready, go.
Come here often?
Ding.
I own this place.
You know, there's a better strip club down the street.
Ding.
You know, you should really check these girls out. I don't know about them.
Nah, I test them all myself.
Ding.
Wow.
Ding.
You know, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? But you know, I love this establishment. You know, we should go into business together someday.
Ding.
I would like to buy your strip club right now.
And scene.
As the late great Robin Williams once said, God gave all of us a brain and a penis, but only enough blood to run one at a time.
How's everybody doing? right, I'm going to talk a little bit about relationships tonight. So relationships need a couple things. All relationships could, always have a couple things that are going to make it work. Trust and respect. As men, we need to respect our partner in regards to their lifestyle, beliefs, and intentions. Now, most of us aren't dating a carbon copy of ourselves, so we need to be able to respect that other person. That's okay. We're not supposed to date the people that are exactly like us. So we're going to be with someone that's different from us, and we just need to respect that. In addition, we need to allow ourselves to trust our partners. Now, this means that we have to be vulnerable. Personally, for me, this can be one of the most difficult things to do, especially if you've had your heart ripped out, kicked across this quad, and eaten by hundreds of angry quad squirrels. Trust is built in moments of vulnerability. So guys, if you notice your girlfriend is having a really shitty day and you just don't want to deal with it, okay, you don't deal with it, the night goes on, but if you do deal with it, you ask her what she's doing, you ask her how she's feeling, you really find out what the problem is, that's where trust is built. You're going to build trust when she needs it most. And it's not going to happen just one time. It's when you do it over and over and over again that trust is going to be built. And this is one of our jobs as men. We're expected to comfort our partner when comfort is needed. Being spontaneous and fun. No matter how long you've been in a relationship, you have to continue to keep the magic alive. Now, the last thing you want to do is get caught in routine. I understand it's Bloomington, Friday night, there's not a whole lot to do. You go grab dinner, you grab some drinks, you go out to the bars, you order DP-Dough, and you fall asleep. And then you wake up to the DP-Dough guy banging at your door and regret it all in the morning. Right, I understand there's not a whole lot to do, but you have to find opportunities to be spontaneous and keep the magic alive. Because if you get caught in a routine, this is where resentment is going to start to grow. Do something different for dinner. Surprise her with ice cream. Go bowling. I don't know, do girls go bowling? I don't know, I like bowling. I'm not too good at it, but I enjoy going bowling. So do something spontaneous to keep the love alive, or to keep the relationship alive. It doesn't always have to be surprise. Ask her what she wants to do. Ask her how she wants to be dated. Ask her, find out where she's most comfortable, in what environment is she most comfortable in. If you're constantly doing something new or different, and especially doing these things together, this is where the relationship will grow most, when you're doing things together. The first time we were together, we tried that new seafood place, or the first time I went to the batting cages, or the first time I went bowling. God, that was the first time. But we were together when we did it, right? I'm supposed to laugh at that. All right, finally. Compromise and communication. Relationships are all about give and take. Now, there shouldn't be one person controlling the relationship. It should really be a team effort. Now, I believe what it means to be a partner is that you've got to split the cost down the middle. I've got to be careful when saying that because, guys, I don't want you going home telling your girlfriends that I told you to literally split the cost down the middle every time you go out to dinner. Make sure she's paying for half of it. You're paying for it. Don't do that. Don't do that. My girlfriend will still offer to leave the tip or pay for dinners completely, which is great. Kind of funny story about that. She'll do it when she knows it's impossible to pay for the meal. It's the most inconvenient times. Guys, do you know what I'm saying? Okay. This joke is not going well. Finish it, hopefully it ends better. So we'll be at the restaurant and we're done eating and they're like sliding the card through the machine. She'll be digging through her purse. Like, oh, do you want me to pay for this? Yeah, okay. Let's just get my card back, we'll void that, run yours. Do you have your checkbook on you? Because while we're at it, you can just write me a check for the last 5 years and make sure everything else is even out. I'm kidding. Okay, don't do that. But as guys, we're expected to pick up the bill, right? I challenge you guys to think about that. I feel that this concept's been passed down from years of men being the main breadwinners in the family. Men are making the money, so the men are picking up the bill. Now I understand we're all broke college students. It doesn't really pertain to us, but when we get out into the real world, let's say your wife or your partner or whoever it may be is making more money than you, and they offer to pick up the bill. Is that okay? Is it okay for them to pay for it?
Hell
is. You guys are a team. Okay, good, you're listening. So what's the goal of a relationship anyways? It's to be happy, right? So one person shouldn't dominate the entire relationship. Sure, there's going to be aspects of the relationship that the man controls and other things that the woman controls. But in the end, both people need to have a voice and both voices need to be respected. Communication is huge. Whether you've been in a relationship for 2 months or 2 years, now you don't have to be an open book right out of the gate, but you have to communicate, and you have to communicate with each other in a constructive manner. So let's say that you're not an affectionate person, and your significant other is a very affectionate person. You need to communicate with them that, so you can find a common ground, that you guys can meet in the middle. This doesn't mean to compromise who you are as a person. Never forget who you are. But you can't expect a relationship to succeed if you're stubborn. So for instance, set the scene. She's rubbing your leg on the inside, or she's rubbing the inside of your leg. Don't worry, it's getting better. She's rubbing the inside of your leg, and you're sitting at the dinner table. You've got a really uncomfortable look on your face. She thinks something's wrong with the fact that she's rubbing your leg. In reality, you're just incredibly uncomfortable because she's inches away from your Dick Wilson, and you've got her father sitting at the head of the table, who might as well be Liam Neeson, staring into your soul. Just like, I don't know what you want with my daughter, but if you touch her, I will look for you. I will find you, and I will kill you. And meanwhile, she's still rubbing your leg like, baby, I'm rubbing your leg. Why aren't you rubbing mine? Thanks, guys.
All right, it says here, according to Dave Barry, the obvious and fair solution to the housework problem is to let men do the housework for, say, the next 6,000 years to even things up. The trouble is that men over the years have developed an inflated notion of the importance of everything they do, so that before long they would turn housework into just as much of a charade as business is now. They would hire secretaries and buy computers and fly off to housework conferences in Bermuda, but they'd never clean anything.
All right, we're gonna play Man Up one more time. Once again, the rules are, if I say ding, you gotta man up what the last thing that they said or that they did. Let's get another location. Right over here, what was that? All right. Just in case you didn't hear that, that was the feminine care aisle at Walgreens. 2 blocks away. Ready, go.
Hey, I'm looking for the ultra heavy. You know how to find it?
Yes, it is under the heavy flow
Ding.
section. It is under the Red Sea section.
Okay.
Ding.
Bro. Alright, look. What is the difference between a tampon and a pad?
If you wear a pad, it goes on.
Ding.
It will caress your vagina. A tampon punches it.
And sing.
Men love because they are afraid of themselves. They are afraid of the loneliness that lives inside of them and need someone in whom they can lose themselves as smoke loses itself in the sky. Via the Compton.
You need this. You deserve this.
Come on, man, it's not real. Those chicks aren't real.
Just do it. It'll make you feel better. Nobody can make you feel as good as you can.
You know how you feel 10 seconds afterwards. You're gonna feel disgusted.
Don't worry about that. You don't last long. It only takes 5 minutes. Quick. Do it while nobody's home. Look at that Wi-Fi stream. It'll load so fast. Remember when you had dial-up and it took forever?
Yeah, remember when you had dial-up and you crashed your parents' computer, man? Porn's clearly affected more than just you.
This girl wants you to do this. Just look at her. She craving it.
I know you had a bad day. You just want to talk with someone and you're lonely.
Come on, man up. It's gonna feel great.
This takes away from who you are. It takes away from your man. This is more than harming you.
Maybe it is, but just one more time. This will be the last time. I mean, look at you. You're ugly. You can't get it anywhere else.
Come on, man, you know yourself. If you can't stop, you can ask for help.
We'll be waiting for you. I'm always here.
If, a poem by Rudyard Kipling. If you can lose your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you but make allowances for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies. Or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster, and treat those two impostors just the same. If you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to, broken, and stoop and build them up with worn-out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss, if you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch. If neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count on you, but none too much. If you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and, which is more, you'll be a man, my son.
According to U.S. Census Bureau, out of 12 million single-parent families in 2013, more than 80% were headed by single mothers. 80%. Today, 1 in 4 children, a total of about 17.5 million children, are being raised without their father, and nearly half of which live below the poverty line. I'm not in those 17.5 million. For my entire life, my father has been present, not only as a father, but also as a God to help me find ways to better my future. Being a black male, fatherhood is often portrayed in a different light within media and also in the black community. For example, how many times have you found yourself sitting there watching TV, entertained by some old dude reading off the 4 most deadly words to a black man? You are the father. Most recently, I even saw a picture of Darth Vader with the quote, "First black guy to admit he is the father." Yeah. However, that's not how it was like in my household. Now, I grew up with a lot of people that didn't have a father figure in their household, and often I would hear them complain about how their father wasn't worth their time. But since this was not my case, I had trouble embracing what it really meant to be in a father's role. Then I thought about everything that my father had shown me and how he exemplifies the role. So when I was thinking about what to write about a father's role and how a father was supposed to act, I gave my dad a call and asked him a little bit about his and his own father's relationship. My dad grew up in the inner city of Chicago. He was number 6 out of 9 children, all born to 7 different mothers. I mean fathers. Wow, 7 different mothers. Sorry guys. His dad was a veteran of World War II, and from what he described, had a little problem handling his liquor all the time. Early in his life, his dad passed away on Christmas morning. He explained that the role his father played to him was a little different. Due to his alcohol problem, his father wasn't in his life all the time. However, because of that void of not really having his dad in his life, my dad stayed away from drugs and vowed that he would be in his own children's life. So him and my mom have been together for 31 years now and have 2 children, my sister and I. He He often tells me that it's his duty to be involved in my life, but he also does want to live his own life and make up for everything that he missed out on with his own lack of a father through me. I'm thankful that I've been lucky enough to have my father in my whole life, and I'm also thankful for what he's instilled in me about what it takes to be a father. From my dad, I've learned that being a father is being the backbone of the family. He works behind the scenes to hold everything up. At times he could be best to fix it and actually do more damage to the house than fixing it, but hey, at least he tried. While at other times he could be that friend to kick back and have a beer with. He's also shown me that a father is not a real emotional figure. I've seen my dad cry maybe once. In his eyes, he wants his kids to grow up and be as tough-skinned as he is. My dad always makes a reference that kids can scratch their knee up, cry for hours, and the dad can bandage the knee up, kiss it, buy ice cream, and the kid will continue to cry. A mom, on the other hand, can just kiss it one time and the tears will stop instantly. However, most importantly, I think what my dad has shown me is the standard of what it actually takes to be a man. And that includes making mistakes, but being man enough to own up to them. He also taught me to be productive within society to provide for me and for my future family. And he also taught me to understand that life isn't all about what society shows it is, involving sex and money, but about treating people with respect in order to get respect back. Thank you.
How men love. Stage 1, appreciation. Stage 2, infatuation. Stage 3, attraction. Stage 4, impression. Stage 5, conviction. Stage 6, reaffirmation. And stage 7, he's ready to love.
A lot of pretty girls out here, and sexy men. So I have the question and the topic of affection, because, you know. So for me, affection is the means in which you choose to show someone that you care about. I think that men should be more affectionate if it is within their nature to do so. There is nothing sad than denying yourself something as amazing as showing someone that you care. Men have this fear that if they are affectionate, then they will be called gay, especially if it's with another man. I think that's a bunch of grade A bullshit. I love showing the people that I care about just how much I do every day. That includes all of you, because I hug all of you every day. I love all of you. For example, and they're not here because we haven't been at the house. Shout out to my fraternity brothers at Acacia. Yes, they are men, and I'm a man as well. But we do not only have to bond over punching things and eating meat with our hands. Don't get me wrong, all of those things are fun. Did you know that long hugs can reduce anxiety and depressive thoughts? I make sure to tell my brothers that I love them every day. I hug them every day. I laugh with them every day. I compliment them every day. I thank them for existing every day. I make sure to listen to their problems every day. I make sure to celebrate their accomplishments every day. And I share my life with them every day. Why? Because without them, my experience at Wesleyan would have been pretty freaking dull. They have given me a home and a family when I needed it most. And growing up being surrounded by gang violence and death, I learned that you never know if you will have the same people in your life 10 minutes from now. That makes me believe that the most heartbreaking part of life is dying and leaving people behind, regretting that you never told them or showed them how much you love them. So from here on out, make sure you let those people in your life know how much you care about them. Making people happy is the best gift I have ever received.
The test of man is the fight that he makes, the grit that he daily shows, the way that he stands upon his feet and takes life's numerous bumps and blows. A coward can smile when there's not to fear, and nothing his progress bars. But it takes a man to stand and cheer while the other fellow stars. It isn't the victory after all, but the fight a brother makes. A man when driven against the wall takes the blows of fate with his head held high, bleeding, bruised, and pale. Is the man who will win fate defied, for he isn't afraid to fail.
Look at these girls. Oh, you see that on her wall? Look at that smile.
Yeah, I lost my phone. Sorry. So, what is a man? Men are big, strong, rugged, and chiseled. We wear dark clothing, do lots of hard work. We have rough hands, greased clothes, worn knees in our jeans. We go to the beach, we look like Spartacus. When we dress up, we look like George Clooney, Bradley Cooper, Idris Elba, or Will Smith. If you do not possess all of, or at least most of these qualities, you are not a man. If you wear any color that is pink, yellow, sounds like a flower, or something sweet, then you are not a man.
Well, doesn't that sound stupid? Well, if you watch TV for more than 15 minutes on every given day, you'll be convinced that media and pop culture will have you believe that if you wear bright colors outside of the latest fashion trend, aren't jacked, or don't have facial hair, then you aren't masculine enough. Justin Bieber in One Direction? Yeah, I'm sticking up with JB and 1D. They are men. The slender, well-groomed kid in your lit class with lots of style and a high-pitched voice? Yes, he is a man. If he gender identifies as a man, then newsflash, he's a man.
In our society today, a man has become much like a box. A rather large, blurry-edged box. From the media, to action figures, to action movies, to chick flicks and Tumblr posts. By the way, man buns and beards, I'll just leave that there. Everywhere you look, the lines of the box are being defined for you. If you happen to be one of the men that fall outside of the ever-shifting lines, then you run the risk of being auto-labeled gay. Which again, there's nothing wrong with. Or feminine. Like there's some sort of a synonym for one another. And in case you haven't checked, they are. To us, it is stupid that you can be assessed on how much of a man you are based on your appearance. That idea and this giant box is total, as Lewis said, grade A bullshit. Oh! Shout out to Lewis McKinney. The way I see it, screw that box.
Masculinity is rarely, if ever at all, identifiable through dress or appearance. Unless he's wearing a dress. I'm not fully sure how that works, but I think the case is that he's a male, as manly as he wants to be, that is comfortable in clothing of females and does not care about gender norms. As long as he's confident and happy, more power to him. I heard there's a nice breeze down there anyway in dress. The key elements needed to have a healthy masculinity are confidence and comfortability. LGBT, alphabet soup, and every color under the rainbow, your masculinity is based on how you portray yourself, and if you're confident in your own masculinity, dare to live outside of the box.
Yeah, this is called Scenes from a Man's Hat. At the beginning of the show, we had some folks write some lines of dialogue on these papers and some questions. Great. And how this is going to work is we're going to get a location in a second, and they're going to pick up these lines of dialogue which they have not seen, and they're going to interweave them into their lines of dialogue like they were always supposed to be here. And we've got some lines of things you shouldn't say as a man and things that are expected you to say as a man. So let's get another location. Library? We'll say it's in a library. It's in the fourth floor of the library.
You have to be quiet on this floor, because people trying to study.
How you doing?
How much foreskin is too much foreskin?
Well, if it looks like a turtleneck, I think we got a problem.
So, what are you studying anyways?
Gender and sexuality in practice. Now make me a sandwich.
Let's bang.
Do you want to go behind the library desk?
Let's go down to the basement, actually.
let's have sex.
Very appropriate. This has been a great conversation. Let's do it again sometime.
And see.
Yeah, football.
All right, we're gonna try that one more time with a few lines here. Throw them on the ground. Let's get another from this side. I've been neglecting this side of the audience. The gym. They're at the gym. Get ready, go.
Oh, God. So sore.
Yeah, I don't know what that feels like.
There are expectations from society that pulls me to act masculine, even if I think I know I don't have to.
Well, this just says lying, so that's great.
Hey, why you looking? Hey, why you looking over there?
Oh, same as always. Very
Okay.
effective.
You want a band?
You and me? Like,
Hey.
is that a term for the weight room? I wouldn't know.
I mean, what is feminism actually?
I don't feel that society expects me to act a certain way. I think that applies to femininity as well.
And see. Let's give these guys a round of applause. Now we're gonna get all of our men back on stage. Brand's gonna take over from here.
All right, you all enjoyed that? Have we done well? All right, can we give these guys another round of applause? Thank you all for coming out. Really appreciate it. We can see the snow coming down, so we really thank you. I want to get serious. We want to talk to you a little bit about men and masculinity. We heard Colin talk about this idea of a man box, and Jamal mentioned, the man box as well. Anybody ever heard of the concept of a man box? But pretty much the man box is a way to understand the confined roles that men have to play in society, or masculinity plays out in society according to societal expectations. And so we think about this idea of a box. If you're in the box, then you're a man. So we had you all talk about, write down phrases and different comments that men say. If we think about this box, if you're tough, if you're strong, if you don't cry, if you do these things that are typically characteristic of men, then you fit within this box. You fit within those confined roles of what it means to be a man. However, if you don't, if you share your feelings, if you're vulnerable, if you're attracted to somebody other than women, then you fall outside of the box. And unfortunately, outside of the box is often seen as a girl, a sissy, or gay. And so over the past several weeks, we've met every single Friday, and we've talked about different aspects of masculinity and manhood. The purpose of these conversations were to go beyond this box. All of our conversations operated outside of these confined boxes. Over these 7 weeks, we shared these several weeks. We shared stories about our past. We talked about issues around watching pornography. We talked about relationships. We talked about our fathers. We really got vulnerable. And that's something that men don't normally do. But we got vulnerable so that we could elevate our conversation to the next level and really, again, get beyond this man box in hopes that these men can begin to challenge you men to think outside of what it means to be a man. How's that sound? All right, so all of the topics that we talked about today, this script was written by us. And so we really based it on the conversations that we've had over the past several weeks. And so really appreciate it. And now we want to open up a discussion, a dialogue. We want to have you all kind of have a dialogue back and forth with us about the different issues that we've been talking about, or different aspects of masculinity, or what you think about men or manhood, or how men act. And it's important to note that nobody here is an expert. We're not experts. We're just men who are trying to understand what it means to be a man, and what it means to be a man in this society, and how we can transform and begin to think outside of these confined roles of what it means to be a man. So, we want to ask you, if you all have any questions, if you have anything whatsoever, these men have shown themselves to be very vulnerable, and I really appreciate appreciate it, and Kyle and I really appreciate it. These men have been vulnerable. Again, what they shared with you, they shared in our one-on-one, in our group conversations. So if you have any questions, any comments about what we've done, anything whatsoever, feel free to ask these guys. However, I will ask that we don't really direct questions at any one individual. We've already told them that whoever feels most comfortable is more than willing to step out and answer a question. If you want to ask about the process or anything, feel free. And if we don't, we also have some carefully thought out questions. But I want to allow you all to go first. So do we have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Trying to get men to do this. So how do we encourage males to be supportive feminists? Question for anyone who wants to take it.
Great question. Yeah, so what's up? What do you think?
Well, the way I see it, if you're a wise man, then you're more than likely going to be a supportive feminist. Easiest way, tell them, well, for me, I should say, when it comes to thinking about feminism, I think about my two little sisters, my mom, my stepmom, my grandma, and I think about, the struggles they face and what I would like to see change, because I was pretty much raised by my mom. So for me to try to, what's the word, unempower, to hinder women would just be basically saying I wouldn't be here. So I don't know, that's just me personally. So tell them, think about your mom. What would you do if it was just your mom trying to support your family? Wouldn't you want her to make you pay, etc.?
Everybody else will be compelled to answer that question, or can I move on? Questions? I saw a few hands. Do we have any more hands? Yes. Okay. Oh, yes.
So I forget who it was that said it, but I remember you guys talking about how we can turn on the TV for 15 minutes and see the image of what a man should be, Spartacus when he's at the beach and all that stuff. But why do you think, or how do you think that then translates to women? Like, how do you think that, why do you think men more uphold the standard for women like that as well? If they want to be treated not that way, why do you think they do it to women?
Oh, wow.
I'll take this one. I think we honestly put unfair expectations on women all the time. Like, it's not fair, and we do this every day. And I think more recently, we were talking about this, I think I remember probably about 10 years ago is when I saw the first advertisement where I was like, that's not realistic to what men look like. And I was like, wow, we have been really lucky. But I'm like, now it's our turn. I think we're going to start targeted, and more we see that pressure on men. But it's not fair for men, and especially women, because it's like 100 times worse for women. But it's not fair.
I think the society puts basically a hold on everybody in the first place. Society gives us the image this is the perfect body for men and for female. Us being people, we naturally just adjust to that. That looks perfect. Let's work towards that. And that's why everybody's trying to get fit and do all this stuff. But you could look the best and you could still have the most jacked up personality on the other. So to be honest, looks doesn't really matter that much. It does in a sense, just because this society was we base everything on. But if you have a great personality, then that takes a little bit.
I think that, to be honest, I wish I could give you a concrete answer. It just sucks. It really does. For me, there's nothing sadder than a woman tries to fit into this unhealthy version of what she should look like. And the only answer I can give you is that for the longest time, men have felt this entitlement over women for the longest period of time. So with a lack of male feminists, what we see is the men that are very close-minded still trying to fit girls into this box, but it's completely unhealthy. Because to be completely honest, and most of you are women in the audience, then to me there's nothing sexier than a healthy woman. And healthy is not something you can define by a size, it's not something you can define by a thigh gap.
taught him everything he knows.
All right, I have a question right here.
First of all, you guys did an amazing job. It was really good. So, I just had a question in regards to like how you guys were talking about the whole box and like all those masculine traits that don't apply to all men. What do you guys think in terms of like with sports? Like, I know there's that whole like kind of stigma of like the jock kind of guy, and I know like I was on a sports team, but it was cross country, it's a little different. What do you guys think?
I think when it comes to sports, seeing as how those are like the times where it's like you need to be the most aggressive and dominant person in the field, like say football for example, there's this overwhelming necessity to be the dominant one. And I feel like a lot of people get carried away in that and they forget that off the field, there's no reason to be the hyper masculine, over-aggressive guy. It's not cool. I don't know, like, this just makes me think of, say for example here, our football program, one of the things that our coach brags about, that he doesn't recruit just athletes, he recruits personalities, he recruits good men. And the idea that there's the whole male hyper-masculine, when you look at our football team and say for example, like me or Ace, either one of us, we weren't the guys that were like, you know, meatheads in the gym all the time, like hate everyone. I'm the toughest guy on campus. Me and him were both in choir, show choir, like a variety of that.
You can't tell everybody my secrets, man.
Why do you feel the need to be ashamed outside the box?
There's a dark side of the moon. You guys heard it. I get it. I still got it.
But yeah, I feel like sports, there's this like overwhelming, like necessity that it's almost becoming like, super apparent that you need to be the top dog. But I feel like a lot of guys like get confused that once you're like not in the sport, you can actually just be yourself.
For me, I face that. I'm a cheerleader here at Wesleyan, and I cheered both of these masculine men. But until this year, I was the only man for my junior year on the cheer team. And I was raised in sports. Like, I did soccer most of my life. Surprise. And after that, I was in football for a little bit. So it was always like, oh, you have to be the best dude. Like, you have to run faster, you have to jump higher, you have to be able to, like, punch the sun and turn it into night. You know what I mean? Like, it was very clear cut. And I thought that that was just normal. I figured that's what we did in sports teams. And when I first joined cheer, I was like, we need to throw people. We need to be lifting weights. We need to, like, not run on the track, but pick up the track and run around the school. Like, I was so into it. And it was actually an honor for me to be able to be on my last cheer game was on Wednesday or Saturday. Blur. Saturday, I know, I still haven't cried yet, but give me advice, I'll show you. But like when I was working with a lot of women, like only women, it was really fun, you know? Like women still push themselves, but it's not like a competition, which I would expect the opposite. But like a lot of the girls were like, hey, let's go work out together, let's do this together. Like if you fail, or let's just pick you up and like cheer you on and clap and hug each other and like being like sweaty and gross and having someone be like, I'm gonna give you a hug. I was like, what? What are you doing? So, yeah, I feel like hypermasculinity has become like this thing for the male sports, but as I've done cheer, I realized that I've actually worked better with positive reinforcement, which is something that men need to accept and be able to do.
Thank you. We got time for two more questions. I see these two women with their hands up. I'm going to scoot over and try to get to you and then you after that. So last two questions.
The phrase man up is really interesting, especially with the social stigma surrounding it. So how do you guys think that we can place a healthy importance on what it means to be a man without totally succumbing to these societal ideas of what is masculine and what is feminine?
We talked a lot about man up throughout the last 8 weeks, and I think the best thing is you be you. That's it. Just be you.
Add an HU in front of it. Human up. I should be like,
and everything, you know. If you guys are looking for lessons, I'll be teaching outside.
Okay, I always notice that men act a lot differently in groups than as individuals, where they might say or do something that they wouldn't normally do, but because they're in a group of men, they do it anyway. And just from an insider's perspective, what does that kind of environment feel like? And maybe what might drive you to do something where you look back on and think, I don't know why I did that, but in the moment, it felt like, you know, something you should do.
That kind of comes back to like what I was talking about with relationships and being in the situation, you know, being at the dinner table with the father sitting there versus, you know, being alone with your girlfriend. Same with guys. When you're in a group of guys, it's almost like there's a sense of you have to impress all the guys there. You know, unless you're extremely close with them, then it's just, you know, out the door. But when you're with a group of guys, it's still that same kind of thing where you're trying to, like, you know, gain their approval and just kind of reach that level of you know, reach that level of approval with them, you know, so they will think highly of you. But you know, some of those things that happen, it's like group things afterwards. Just like you said, it's like, you know, why the hell did I do that? Why did I say that? You know, you wouldn't say that if you were by yourself in front of girls or in front of other guys. But that's my best answer would be, you know, trying to impress the guys that you're with.
Yeah. Like being around your guys is like the biggest form of peer pressure you can possibly get. 'Cause, I mean, they're going to influence you to do stuff that you're proud of.
You taught me everything I know.
But yeah, being around your guys, cause they're gonna get you. They're gonna influence you to do stuff that you wouldn't do like if you were by yourself, or you wouldn't do like if you were in a group of girls. So I don't know. I feel like while you're with your friends, the idea of the box, even though, say, like how Brendan said, we like challenge each other, look outside of the box. I feel like when you're with your friends, unless you guys are comfortable enough where there is no box, then there's still like the societal pressure and it's like right there in your face. It's like you don't want to look weak. Like you don't want to look weak in front of you. Why? It's a problem that you don't really know the answer to. It's you're trying to fix it. Like human up. It's like there's this overwhelming like feeling like, oh, I have to be like, tough. The same way it is in sports. It's the whole hyper-masculine male idea. You can't look vulnerable in front of anyone. When you're around a bunch of guys, you're more likely to be
To be honest, I think it has to do a lot with societal standards. I mean, you have things that like the bro code and the wingmanning and stuff like that that encourages this type of behavior where we're supposed to act in some way more primal. You know what I mean? I would know. I've wingman before. I've been wingman before. I've worked with my friends. But I think that as we get older, as men, yeah, I hope we got the point. So as like, I feel like as men become older and they become more like independent, they feel less of a need to feel pressured by their friends. Because like freshman year when I first came here, like, you know, if I would drink with my friends, you would later find me like running naked across the quad with my friends. Whereas now I just run naked across the quad out of my own will. But on top of that, like, I even think about my relationship with some of the brothers, and I know some of you because I hang out with you outside of this program, like me and Hank Quintero, if we start drinking, go to the bars and get home, we're not like, oh, let's chest bump and punch this door. Like, we're like, let's start singing some Lana on the porch. Let's talk about how we're in love with this man on the stage and sing it to the cops that are yelling at us on Main Street. Like, it's just, I feel like as men get older, they feel less pressure to be in this box, because I no longer feel the pressure to be in that box. I can tell you I know probably every word to the Notebook. Why? Because I probably watch a movie more than me every day.
Oh, okay, one last thing. I feel like in the sense that there's the pressure with the friends, like you said, you're growing up. I feel like, I don't know, you're not truly a man until you realize that you don't need to impress other men. So I feel like once you become that man,
So we do want to be conscious of your time. We thank you so much for before you leave and want to acknowledge all of these men one by one. So please, when I call their names, please show them some love. I'm gonna have them step out here and take a bow. So Tyler, step out. Jamal, Lewis, and last but not least, Anthony. So again, we want to thank you all for coming out. We also want to thank our crew over here. They've done great. Give our crew a hand. We also want to thank Anna Lowenthal. We really appreciate you. And is there anybody else? Is there anybody else we need to thank? Yeah. No? The photographer, we appreciate you. Oh, the programmers, all of our programmers who helped us out too, thank you.
Can we get a big round of applause for both Brandon and Colin? Without them, we wouldn't have been able to do any of this. They brought us together, they made it all happen. So thank you guys very much.
All right, so thank you so much. Be safe getting home. It's snowing outside. Be safe. Thank you. We appreciate you. Have a good night.
The photographer, come on.